Why is that? It says going live. Hello? Hello? Thanks for letting me know though, Joel. Am I there? Since chat was coming through, I assumed that we were live. But my thing's just spinning still saying, you're live. Am I live? I've refreshed it. Just let me know, everyone. We may be having difficulties. Maybe this is going to be a Twitch-only stream. But, oh yeah, just so you know though, like if you watch it on Twitch, thank you, by the way. Yeah, it's not going to be on for much longer because it's quite expensive. I know that, like, maybe if you kept it up longer, we'd like build up a thing on Twitch and stuff, and that would be lovely. But yeah, it's pretty pricey to do both at the moment, so maybe a better option will come along at a month. But yeah, just so you know, if you found me through Twitch and you wonder where I've gone, I'm on YouTube, and most of the stuff is on YouTube. If you've only ever seen me on Twitch, there's like 700 something playthroughs on YouTube you can find. They're in the past, of course. Hear me on both things. Hey, I've appeared. Hi everyone. Don't worry, we haven't started yet. You can see it's still sealed. I've just been rambling about stuff. So yeah, Brian, you read the rulebook for your first time because there's no rules videos for it. Can you do one for me then? It would save me a lot of hassle. I will do a playthrough, Ben, for this probably in March, just because like there's a load of things, like I've not been very well for a week or so. I lost my voice. And you can see that it's mostly back. Frustratingly, like this, I feel like this is taking the mick a bit now. It's too long. Yeah, there's things like Weather Machine and the things that are in second place. I think Atua, something else. I'm gonna try and fill February with February voting things. But yeah, this just arrived yesterday. Or maybe a little bit longer than that. But yeah, this is a fresh arrival. So this and Astronauts so far are the nice fancy arrivals that will be making up part of the March vote. I had a massive, massive arrival today. That is, so I backed this on GameFound, and I backed Astronauts in a group pledge. So hey, they're kind of things that really need the votes. But I got sent a great big exciting thing that'll be will be happening at some point in March, I think. That's kind of the other end of the spectrum, though. This is the Euro-y spectrum. The other one's going to be the minis kind of spectrum. Are they still delivering in the US? Yeah, I wasn't sure, like, because I assume that it hasn't delivered in many places because of the lack of videos for it, apart from the ones from when it was originally like crowdfunding. But yeah, I would hope that this would get pretty good votes in March and would hopefully be coming up fairly early because, yeah, I've read some cracking posts about it on Board Game Geek. But yeah, so like things are just a bit delayed. I had all these grand plans to do all these extra things. I'm waving my arms side by side because there's a game set up kind of off camera here. Yeah, there was grand plans for stuff, especially last week, but yeah, they all got, oh no, I've made that way worse sometimes. They all got kind of derailed by, it's quite hard doing this, not speaking. I think I'm just way behind. Can you all see me though? And I'm coming through okay now, aren't I? Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I think I'm just behind. Alive. Yeah, it's like, so I'm not sure if this, if anything's changed, but generally Spielworks in the past, they publish games themselves, so don't do, I don't think they've done crowdfunding. I think they maybe have, but they do like a limited run, say, of about 1,000 games, I think, and then they don't do any more than that. So I think this was like different because it was going to be like a Uwe Rosenberg, probably going to be more than 1,000 people wanting it. So I think it's got a wider print run than general, because yeah, usually Spielworks games, they do some fantastic stuff, but this is like, they do the first print run of it, and then they move on to the next project. And if you want like copies of certain older things, like I think Deluvio project, like a few things get picked up by other publishers then that'll do like wider print runs. But yeah, it's potentially going to be limited. Hey everyone, by the way, I'm a bit mixed up as well, because I was saying hello to you when I thought we were live, but we weren't. Well, we were on Twitch. But yeah, we had Atua, and this, well, I suppose technically this is 2023 game now. We had Atua and then Applejack. I haven't played Applejack. I've played Atua, well, we played it once at GridCon, and I've got it now. It's been requested. I think it's done pretty well in the vote. Atua will be coming up pretty soon. Weather Machine, I promise, is going to be hopefully next week. I say hopefully, don't say hopefully. It's definitely going to be next week, right? You can't. Maybe this is just my permanent voice now. Yeah, should we crack it open? I think I'm all caught up at last. Hey, Heroic Logic, how's it going? I was just saying, for anyone twitching, that it's going to be back to YouTube only for the foreseeable future. Anyway, pretty soon. This may well be the last time. I'm not sure when it runs out. I thought it had already run out. But yeah, I've got to relearn Weather Machine. I did all the videos for... I don't think it's massively changed since I did the prototype videos for it. But yeah, even just staying the same as it was a it was a big learn back then. So should we have a look at what kind of game is Oranienburger Kanal? So I'm sure I'm pronouncing terribly. We got a lovely resource wheel. Uwe loves them. From Glass Road, Aura et Labora. Probably more of an Aura et Labora kind of thing if it's just like a communal thing. We are putting cards on our personal boards. We're building bridges over canals and stuff. Well, it's the canal. Between 1832 and 1837, the eponymous Oranienburger Kanal was built in Brandenburg. During the industrialization of the 19th century, the most diverse trade and industrial businesses were located at this important canal. Additionally, new connections via roads and rail were established. In Oranienburger Kanal, you plan and build new industrial areas, even though your plans are vague at the beginning. Sounds about right. You raise structures and shape the infrastructure. You raise paths, build roads, and lay rail tracks. You also gradually excavate parts of the canal and, importantly, build bridges to connect to the structures. To do so, you have several actions at your disposal, which need to be selected at the right moment. At the end of the game, you select the best industrial area by adding up the prestige points of your structures, routes, thaler, and remaining materials, together with the prestige points earned during the game. It also includes a solo game, the newest Uwe Magic. And so it's a 1 to 2 player game as well. It's 45 or more minutes. Yeah, maybe it is Orangeburger. So what do we got? We got the rules. Separate. I think this is standard in Spielworks as well. Like it's multilingual. It comes with like I think in the past, like same as Concordia as well. Like it comes with like decks of cards for English and German. Oh, thanks, Steve. I always forget. Yeah, you can help out the channel if you would like to. There's patreon.com/slickerdrips, and there is a Ko-fi as well. The link's in the description, and Steve Bart has helpfully linked them in the chat as well. If you are able to and you'd like to support the channel, it'd be lovely if you could join us. I know, like, it's part of what the panic of like, oh, I'm not streaming. For like, but then I realised after I made that post this morning, it's only been a week. It's just usually I'm always streaming, aren't I? We're always doing something, always posting something. So it's weird going to nothing. So we got some lovely punch boards. There's the great big resource wheel. Oh no, it's all coming apart. Hey, pops out nice though. Marty is in off. Yeah, he's not there. He chose about 10 minutes before the stream to start being all loving and jumping up on me and wanting a fuss. But yeah, I had to set the camera up and stuff. And he did not like being moved off. Oh, it looks like we've got one each. Loads of roads, train tracks, canals. Got a Steve Bot command. Our big personal boards for our cards and that. So there is also, as well, I don't know if this was like an extra thing, but yeah, there's 2 expansions, Oranienburger included as well. We've got some many plastic bags and the fixings for the dials, an enormous score pad. Reminds me we need to do a Hadrian's Wall, don't we? I think half of it's gone somewhere. You need to get half of it back. Some lovely little player aids, both language either side. So you can build routes. Yeah, build each of the different kind of routes for different materials. Costs money to make canals, bricks to make roads. You can build a bridge, activate the effect of a structure. And we've got... like, I think there's still feeding and stuff in there. Like, we've got a... like, kind of hefty... like, I think that would be considered a good deck of cards if we hadn't already seen things like, you know, Feast for Odin or Agricola or something that comes with many million cards. Oh yeah, don't forget the big bag full of wooden bits as well. Are you keeping it fresh? You're gonna make sure your canals are fed. We have lovely little wooden bridge pieces. Oh, you can see it all. You can see it slightly close up on there. We've got the various resources of the game as well that'll go on your wheels. Some bricks, some... oh, I know directions. Various coloured enormous discs. Coal, is that? Charcoal? So using a lovely... Uwe loves his wheels for resources. So you got a big bag of bits. To have a little dive in. Oh, before the first game, make sure you put your dials together. So yeah, all the resources you've got are marked on your wheels, so it's like... so Glass Road does that. I wonder if it's got like the same thing where... well, that's why you use the wheel in Glass Road, kind of, that you're making like glass, so as soon as you've got the materials to make glass or bricks, it automatically makes it. Let's do a Glass Road stream soon. Never mind all these exciting new games, let's do Glass Road. You're making all of the canals and stuff. An orange burger in the canal. It would be nice to have Rach do a voiceover. Rach, how would you voice an unboxing of this game?
I don't know, just my normal voice.
People are calling for you to do it.
No.
Oh, I said that she should help me out in the game that I'm going to film and read out all the story bits. She's got a job in that though. Because he also loves his discs for workers as well. Is that what they are? Action discs. In the solo game, put the red starting disc as a blocking disc on a certain action and put money from this space back in the supply. And you get 4 action discs. Oh yeah, and the starting player. So I suppose like you do all of your actions in one great big thing in a row. Yeah, there's different kind of structures available for the solo or the 2-player game. In the solo game, put the boards in the player aid for the second player back in the game box. Nice touch. Rich does do good narration. Maybe there'll be time for a Galzia stream next week. I don't know though. Who knows yet? Galzia would be easier for me to, because I've Rach voicing my turns as well. Shut my mouth for a bit. That's the hardest bit of the last week. So yeah, we've got, on the main board, we've got various worker placement spaces that'll have money on them. And that's how you'll choose to like build structures, raise structures. The following rules are valid for 2 players and mostly for the solo game. There's a couple of changes for the solo game at the end. Yeah, you can buy materials. When you spend them, move them down on your wheel. So the wheel doesn't move automatically in this. You can it's a free action that you can do. You can pay money at any time to tick the wheel round to produce your more valuable materials that are on the other side of the wheel. You can activate effects of all your various structures that are all the cards that you'll end up laying down on your board. And your points for your various structures. Well, it did say that in like the description as well, didn't it? Oh, and the big red one is a blocking disc that moves to like a next action each time in the solo game. So is that what? Because I think in Atua, like I haven't looked at the solo game for Atua yet. Isn't it like a Feast for Odin kind of thing in the solo where the things that you did in a previous round will block your access to those actions in a future round? Which worked great in Feast for Odin. Okay, you refill more structures. You put money on spaces, and then a action disc moves to block a new space in the solo game. And based on the score that you got in it, it tells you how well you did in it. You can go from it does not work without practice to do you know more than we do? Unbelievable. And you can play a solo game as well. After choosing the deck you want to play 3 games in a row. At the start of each game, take new structures from all 3 types. So you'll use almost the entire deck in a campaign as well. There's only so many blue structures, so you'll have to reset something. Oh, and you get a cumulative score for that, where you want to get over a certain amount as well. I think you'll see me play this game. I don't know. I don't know that I'll see Rach play this game. Maybe. I don't think it made any mention of feeding and stuff in there. I mean, it's not the only deal breaker. But you're not a fan of feeding so much, are you, Rach?
No.
But we've also got Atuasol is awesome, and yeah, meeples block the spaces. There's also Framework. Have I seen Framework? Atua is going to be coming soon. I don't know if it'll be next week, because yeah, there's more limited time for me doing stuff next week, and I want to really try and get Weather Machine done, just because I feel like I've been saying, oh, it's happening, and then, oh no, it's not happening actually. So I want to make sure that's happening. But yeah, maybe Atua is going to be the week after. Oh yeah, Framework. I remember seeing that. I haven't played it though. It's 4 last week. A re-implementation of Nova Luna. Nova Luna. I combined both of the things. Just we played Nova Luna. We enjoyed that. So yeah, there's also like I don't know if these were just kind of built into the pledge or I paid extra because to be honest, I kind of forgotten. It's been a bit. So kind of like the upside, well, the many upsides of playing many different games, but also when I can't always afford to back the things I'm all excited for when they're on crowdfunding, but when I have done, I just kind of forget about it and just suddenly get an email every now and then. Oh, something's happened, something's been delayed, or it's on its way. Yep, fine, nice. And then when it finally gets here, oh, brilliant. Ooh, loads more cards. Probably the equivalent, right, of another one of those decks. Yeah, so I wonder if these will just like... Oh no, they're divided. So we've got deck... So I wonder if like decks A and B are in the base game. Uwe also loves his lettered decks as well, doesn't he? So we've got glossaries for decks C and D in these expansion boxes. So yeah, just like more options, more decks to use. Do you just use like a separate one? Oh, thanks, Mike. So this is I kind of read the German one. Did you just pick one of the structure cards, the front of them? Yeah. Yeah, so the colours show the period of the game. Yeah, you choose one of the decks, either A or B, in the normal game. So imagine like you will just pick one of the other options if you've got the thing. So that's a nice way of keeping it fresh as well, isn't it? Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I'm annoyed that I'm not fully loud mouthing around, but I can kind of speak up. And then we got what, E and F? Yeah, we've got decks E and F in the other compartment, and some glossaries for both of them in 2 languages as well. I think I saw someone post. I think it might just be because I'm subscribed to like games on Board Game Geek, but I don't check them often enough, so I don't see a lot of stuff. But when I do check it, I think somewhere like said keep your expansion boxes because they're good for putting all of those, all of those canal and road and stuff tiles in there. They're like a little bonus insert that's come with it accidentally. So yeah, just glossaries, more options, more decks and stuff. Or maybe I'll love it so much and you'll love it so much that it'll get voted to come back and see how all these various decks and things work. But yeah, I feel like, well, I don't know. It's definitely going to be in the vote for March. But it'll be up to you when it gets played through, really. I feel like as Uwe games go, tend to be pretty popular. But yeah, generally first Tuesday or so in the month. Nearly a big cough, but disappeared. Yeah, usually the first Tuesday of every month we have the new playthrough votes, and yeah, it's strange having like a great big bit of excitement right in the middle of another month. Like, what about all the other things that you were meant to be excited about? They will be getting done though. What are we? Have I got a window open that's got Patreon on it? I feel like every time I've checked the vote, it's kind of been like Weather Machine way in front and everything else kind of jostling. Where is it? Come on, vote. I see you. So yeah, Weather Machine way in the lead. And what have we got then? Atua and Woodcraft and Ark Nova have both got more votes. And then Trajan Solo's almost got as many votes as Atua. Maybe Atua won't be straight after. Try and make sure I do it though, and in this month's games, because it's the reason that I bought it. So definitely, I feel like, I shouldn't say definitely when I haven't got control over it, but ideally, Weather Machine will be a playthrough stream next week, as well as another thing, I hope. But maybe it'll be a return of something. Woodcraft, Ark Nova with one of the new maps. I say new. You may have had them a while. I haven't though. And then Atua. At the moment though, so after that it could all change. I think you can change what you vote for if you change your mind. You don't own any Uwe games. Have you played any? Or are they just not they just not look like your thing generally? I think like there were a fair few games before that from things we'd seen on like tabletop and stuff right in the beginning. But I think we'd already seen them and got some games. But yeah, Agricola was like the first kind of chunky, confusing game that I ever got. Just because it was available on Amazon. My birthday was coming up. And I think it was number 2 on Board Game Geek at the time, on their like top 100. Number 1 was like, what was that? Twilight Struggle. And that was like a 2-player fight against each other game, so I didn't care about that. But number 2, farming. They make games about farming. They do. One man makes a lot of games about farming. Luckily, they're great though. If you're into that kind of thing. The farming theme doesn't grab you. That's fair enough. It's a lot of the themes I like though. Yeah, Atua is still like, there's bats and poo, but you're making a different kind of, there's a different setting, but you are still doing farming and stuff, aren't you? Feast for Odin, you're not farming, you're Well, yeah, in this you're kind of you're being all industrial and stuff. So yeah, you're not farming. Yeah, there's the abstract kind of ones like Patchwork and Nova Luna and stuff. Oh yeah, Bonanza. That's Uwe Rosenberg, isn't it? From way back when. I played the different times we've played. I think we only played it a couple of times. Played it with one friend, and it was like it worked really well and was really funny. And we played it with someone else, and it just fell flat, and it just didn't work at all. It definitely depends on your mood, the group. But yeah, there's loads of them in there at this point. Yeah, Feast for Odin is Vikinging. They're probably doing some farming. They must be doing some farming. They're getting all this stuff from somewhere. They get a lot of food every round. They're filling up sheds with it. Hopefully, like, I wonder if that'll be this year. There's been an expansion kind of in the works, hasn't there, for Feast for Odin? Quite a big one that's been in the works for a few years now. I wonder if that'll be coming out this year. Did I do a video for Cottage Garden in Indian Summer? I don't think I did the third one. It's Feast for Odin, easy on the rules overhead. It's pretty complicated. Well, it depends really. Like anything. Like it depends what other stuff you've played. But like Feast for Odin's thing is just, so it's still like just a worker placement game. We've got all of these actions, pop a worker on, do the thing. But Feast for Odin has got a great big worker placement board. They're like just rows and rows and columns of actions that like some of them kind of group together and they're just more powerful versions of the same thing. But there's a lot of kind of stuff to know up front about like this is how pillaging works, and this is how fishing works, and this is how this works. But like as well as all that worker placement and getting all stuff, you then get loads of lovely polyomino pieces and you jigsaw them together on your player boards and stuff. It's a beautiful combination. I imagine like the polyomino, like that's how he's having so many games released every year, right? That he does these great big heavy things every few years, right? It's like every couple of years. Because like in 2020 there was Hallertau and something else, right? And so in 2022, like this bit delayed, so it's 23 now. But yeah, the really heavy, meaty one. Atu are probably in between. I wouldn't say it was like really complex one, but it's like not like it's not lighter like the polyomino games. Couldn't think of that word then. I've got a couple of videos, Jimmy, if you're interested, about they might be a bit old now, but yeah, I've got a couple of Feast for Odin videos. One that's just the base game from right when it came out, actually. That's probably quite an early video. And one with the expansion that I did a couple of years ago. If you want to see some of the stuff that goes into it. Yeah, Mercator. I feel like we did Mercator not very long ago. I just want to do all these games now. Let's not learn any new games. I'd have to relearn all the old ones, though. I'm learning games either way. But yeah, Mercator is a great one. It's I don't know if it's still... I imagine it still is pretty hard to get, because it's... I don't think it's been in print at any point. It was out of print and hard to get when I got it 6-7 years ago. So I imagine it's just gotten harder to get hold of. But that's, yeah, it's a game of roaming around the world, getting cubes, using them to fulfill contracts to get better contracts that need more cubes, and you need to go to different places around the world. It's so good. It's the cubiest Euro game. But yeah, Oranienburger Kanal is hopefully going to be coming up in a few weeks. Because yeah, it's going to be March in a few weeks, isn't it? That's why I'm so panicked about February's games. It's not like they're lost forever, although in a way, sometimes the games get lost forever. But yeah, I want to make sure stuff gets done. I wonder if there is going to be like a big box farming game this year, because like I think before then they tended to be every couple of years. Like I'm not going to be able to remember things now, am I? So I think, was it like 2016 Feast for Odin, 2018 Nusfjord, 2020 Hallertau? Like, of the big farmy games, I know, like, released plenty of things in between those. I know Nusfjord was 2017. 2018 was Reicholt, which was like that was a new version of, you can't remember, you're losing all your credibility. What was it a new version of? It wasn't like, it wasn't technically the same, was it? I thought Reicholt was a re-implementation of something. Who knows? That was 2018. So yeah, 2020 Hallertau, 2022, technically. This, Atua, and then Applejack and Framework are lighter games, right? Yeah, Applejack is placing tree tiles. Although it's not polyominoes, placing hexes and stuff. So who knows though, because well, I suppose Feast for Odin, the biggest of the big box games that he's done. Although Hallertau comes in the same size, but it's not got nearly as much stuff in it. I suppose it's got a lot of cards in Hallertau. And then Nusfjord was right after it. Like Nusfjord's, you know, smaller, but like yeah, the big box is coming, right? I wonder if that's this year. There's a big box edition coming of Nusfjord that I think's got like a new expansion specific to it, which is a bit frustrating if you've already got it. But I have got, so it'd be I was tempted by the Agricola one, but I just can't afford. And I've got Agricola in the first two. I've got the new, you know, the revised one and the first two card packs. So I had to resist the Agricola lovely box. But yeah, Nusfjord, I've got that and the first expansion. And the second one, is it Salmon? I missed, and then it went straight out of print. And whenever I see it coming up on eBay or something, it's a fortune. So I've just had to do without that expansion. There's two new Nusfjord expansions. So yeah, the first two that already came out for it then, including one in particular. Maybe the first one is hard to get and I just don't know because I've got that one. Yeah, the Agricola Anniversary Edition came out last year as well, didn't it? But yeah, the Nusfjord one I feel like is this year. All of it is so like, when you look at just, this is like not even every single game. This is like a abridged list of notable games on his Board Game Geek page. So 2007 Agricola, Le Havre is the next year, 2009 At the Gates of Loyang, next year Mercator, next year Aura et Labora, next year Agricola and Le Havre 2-player versions, as well as Bonanza games being wedged in the middle of these. Next year Glass Road, next year Patchwork and Fields of All. Next year Hengist will forget 2015. 2016 Feast for Odin. 2017 it's just like, it's a cracking rate of releasing stuff, isn't it? Gates of Loyang, that's it, Ben, thank you. Yeah, it had the stepping stones bit, didn't it? And the filling in orders. Like, it's not like quite a full re-implementation, but yeah, that's what it was inspired. I knew like Reicholt was inspired by something, but I couldn't remember what it was. Yeah, I enjoyed Reicholt, but not as much as At the Gates of Loyang. Which technically, I suppose that is farming. You do plant stuff and grow it. Ignore me. You are selling the stuff to people, but you're not technically feeding people, are you? But no, there's definitely farming involved. Glass Road, there's still cutting down trees and stuff, isn't there? And doing stuff on your farming board. Not so much farming, but it's still kind of farming. Fields of All, there's definitely farming. Nusfjord's fishing. Is there farming involved? I think you're making friends with old sailors and fishing, mainly in Nusfjord. I think 2015 was the first time that I'd been properly aware of what Essen was and the things that were coming out at it. And so, like, being someone who'd got these Uwe Rosenberg games, a new one is coming out this year. Oh, you like that little Agricola and Le Havre game? Here's a new... Did you like Patchwork last year? Loved Patchwork. It's got a new one, Hengist. I remember it being really, really disappointing. You kind of picked paths of like which path would lead you to this Viking treasure, and there were a load of tiles on the board that were like face down, so you didn't quite know which path would lead where, and it was basically you flip in this tile and you've picked the wrong path, sorry. There might have been more to it than that, but it was a very, very light game. But even so, didn't enjoy that one little bit. That was before the channel times though, so I didn't have to express my disappointment on that. It's got 4.8 rating. That's still pretty good though, isn't it? For something that's I think it's probably more pronounced as well when you like so many of his other games, and they are so good, they are amongst your favourites, that when you get one that's disappointing, it feels even more disappointing, because I'm meant to like these things. I usually like them. Yeah, that's kind of long enough ago now that... Who remembers that? Olden's like me. For the Feast for Odin roll and write. Is that an announced thing? I see a thread pop up every now and then that I'm subscribed to for an upcoming Feast for Odin expansion. The Danes. And it'll be a standalone game. Oh, it'll be a standalone game. Oh, it's a standalone expansion for Feast for Odin. Okay, this isn't the thread I'm subscribed to. This is another thread talking about Feast for Odin. You're just joking. I wouldn't be surprised. I just thought of that great big Feast for Odin grid getting crossed off. That's why you don't need that. I've got the full polyomino one. I would like the Orlean one. I wasn't able to get that at the time. I do like Orlean. I haven't heard anything about the roll and write in particular. I just I like Orlean enough to give it a go. I like from some things about Orlean, it makes me want to get that out again as well. It's been quite a while since I played that. I don't think it's quite that long ago, but I feel like scary enough it might even be whenever I did the last playthrough for it, which was some years ago now. It gets that way with some things. Like, I don't think I'd ever get rid of it because I remember loving it so much. But hey, time just runs away, doesn't it? So I think I'll leave it there. There was an unboxing in the middle of all my chatting. But yeah, I'll be back around the same time tomorrow, 5 o'clock-ish, if the go live button works this time. And we'll have a look at Astronauts, the successor, the re-implementation, the more streamlined re-implementation of Aeon's End, and see what that looks like. I also hear good things. A different kind of game. But yeah, hopefully is another one that will be coming to you in March as well. Just thought, yeah, while I definitely can't do great big 3-hour things, we can still have a little natter about stuff, can't we? Orlean story. Oh yeah, Orlean stories. Let's not count that. That's been written out of history. I think someone mentioned it. Was it in the Discord? Someone mentioned watching my first impressions of Orlean stories and how much I didn't like it, and I can't really remember specifically why I didn't, but I remember feeling pretty disappointed with that as well. But forget these things. Just remember how much I like Orlean. Forget that like a great big, enormous treasure chest version of it came out that I was so excited for. And again, oh, never mind though, eh? There's always another game. Maybe they'll do a roll and write version of Orlean stories as well. It's excellent. Have you played it already, James? It's another one that I haven't cracked open just yet. But yes, I will be back, everyone, tomorrow around the same time. And we'll have a look at Astronauts then. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. And yeah, you can support the channel in the various ways, Patreon and Ko-fi and stuff. Thank you so much for doing that, if you do it. And just for joining me in general. I'll be back unboxing again, as the kind of unboxer that I am, tomorrow. But for now, I'll see you later, everyone. Bye, bye, bye.